Ever imagine stepping through one of those shimmering portals and like coming face to face with ancient Egyptians?
Ooh,
That's
a wild thought.
that's the wild premise of that 1994 sci-fi movie Stargate. And today, we're going deep.
Oh, yeah.
We're taking a deep dive into the world it created on screen. And behind the scenes, we've got a stack of IMDb entries
Nice.
and film reviews. Some call it a cult classic. Others point out its flaws. So get ready to unearth those fascinating bits that make Stargate more than just a cheesy action flick.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how Stargate blends our fascination with those ancient mysteries and like the possibilities of interstellar travel.
Right.
It's like the filmmakers took all those like late night what if conversations we've all had about aliens and pyramids
Yeah.
and turned it into a full-blown cinematic experience.
Okay, so for those who haven't seen it or need a refresher,
Yeah.
let's set the stage.
Okay.
This mysterious device, the Stargate,
Right.
it's found in Egypt,
Uh-huh.
and guess what?
Hmm.
It's a portal to another planet.
Right.
And get this.
Yeah.
This other planet. It's populated by humans who resemble ancient Egyptians,
Wow.
which immediately throws our understanding of history into question.
Yeah, the film doesn't just hint at a connection between Earth and this alien civilization. It like dives headfirst into that controversial theory of ancient astronauts.
Right.
Proposing that, extraterrestrials may have influenced those early civilizations.
Right.
It asks us to consider alternative interpretations of our past,
Yeah.
which can be a really powerful and thought-provoking exercise.
Yeah, so we have our main characters navigating this mind-bending scenario.
Right.
We've got Dr. Daniel Jackson. He's a linguist with some, shall we say, unconventional theories about the pyramids.
Right.
And Colonel Jack O'Neill, our classic hardened military man. What did you make of that dynamic?
Well, it's that classic on-couple thrown into this extraordinary situation.
Right.
You've got Jackson, the academic, driven by curiosity and a desire for knowledge, and O'Neill, the soldier, dealing with personal loss and approaching the unknown with suspicion.
Right.
So they're contrasting personalities and approaches to the situation. It adds depth to the film's exploration of the unknown.
Okay, so let's talk about the planet on the other side of the Stargate Abydos. It's a stark desert landscape.
Yes.
Reminds me of ancient Egypt. But the human inhabitants have developed their own unique culture, shaped by their circumstances. What stood out to you about the world building in Stargate?
Well, the world of Abydos is a masterclass in world building.
Okay.
The filmmakers drew inspiration from real-world history and mythology, but they weren't afraid to add their own creative twists.
I see.
We see familiar elements like pyramids and hieroglyphs, but also unique cultural practices and societal structures that really set Abydos apart.
Okay.
They managed to create this believable alien society that felt both familiar and alien at the same time.
And speaking of familiar,
Yeah.
the film introduces Ra, a powerful being who claims to be a god and has enslaved the Abydonians.
Oh.
And it doesn't stop there. His lieutenants are named after Egyptian deities, Horus and Anubis. It's almost as if someone intentionally manipulated history to consolidate their power.
Well, this raises a crucial question.
Yeah.
Who controls the narrative of the past?
Right.
Stargate suggests that those in power often shape history to suit their agendas. It challenges us to consider the possibility that our own understanding of history might be influenced by forces seeking to maintain control or suppress dissenting voices.
Wow. That's a pretty heavy thought,
Yeah.
especially when you consider how the film portrays the clash between the Earth explorers and Relemfer.
Yeah.
It almost mirrors those real-world themes of rebellion and emancipation, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have this advanced alien race enslaving a population and claiming godhood, while a group of humans from Earth, despite their own flaws and internal conflicts,
Yeah.
end up fighting for the freedom of the Abydonians.
Right.
It's that classic battle between oppression and liberation played out on an interplanetary stage.
And let's not forget the technical achievements in bringing this story to life.
Oh, yeah?
Stargate utilized impressive practical effects and even filmed on location to realize its vision. I read that the original cut of the film was a whopping 3 hours long.
Wow.
That's dedication.
That's incredible.
Before we move on, I want to hear your thoughts on one element that really stood out to me. The way Stargate blends real-world history and those ancient astronaut theories.
Yeah.
It's like it asks us to reconsider everything we think we know about our past. What do you make of that?
Well, the film doesn't shy away from blurring the lines between history, mythology, and science fiction.
Right.
It plants a seed of doubt in the viewer's mind, suggesting that our history might be far more complex and mysterious than we realize, whether you believe in ancient astronauts or not. The film's willingness to explore these fringe ideas makes it all more fascinating.
So as we wrap up part 1 of this deep dive into Stargate, I want to ask you, what are your initial thoughts on the film? What aspects have resonated with you the most?
One thing that really struck me was how Stargate challenges that traditional hero narrative.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. While Colonel O'Neill initially embodies that tough, no-nonsense military archetype, his journey forces him to confront his vulnerabilities and preconceived notions.
It's interesting you say that because you're right. He's battling grief over the loss of his son.
Right.
And that personal tragedy definitely colors his interactions with the Abadonians. It's almost as if he's seeking redemption in this alien world, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, his emotional baggage adds a layer of complexity to what could have easily been a one-dimensional action hero.
Right.
And it's through his interactions with the Abadonians, particularly with Shaori, that we see him grapple with his past and find a sense of purpose.
And then you have Dr. Jackson. He starts as this somewhat naive academic who's ridiculed for his unorthodox theories.
Right.
But once he steps through that Stargate, his linguistic skills and open-mindedness become invaluable. He doesn't just adapt to this alien environment, he thrives in it.
It's fascinating to see how Jackson's journey challenges that stereotype of the absent-minded professor.
Yeah.
He actively engages with the Abadonian culture, learns their language, and forms genuine connections with the people. He becomes a bridge between two worlds, facilitating understanding and ultimately playing a crucial role in their liberation.
And his relationship with Shaori adds an interesting layer to the film, doesn't it? It's not just a typical action movie romance.
Right.
It speaks to the power of human connection to transcend cultural and even interplanetary boundaries.
While the romance aspect might feel somewhat formulaic, I think Jackson's relationship with Shaori highlights the film's theme of unity and understanding despite differences.
Yeah.
It suggests that even in the face of overwhelming odds and seemingly insurmountable cultural barriers, human connection can flourish.
Now, let's be honest, Stargate isn't without its flaws.
Right.
Some viewers have criticized the dialogue, calling it clunky or predictable, and others found the plot to be a bit formulaic. What are your thoughts on those criticisms?
Well, it's true that Stargate doesn't shy away from those familiar sci-fi tropes.
Yeah.
And the dialogue can be a bit on the nose at times.
Right.
However, I think those elements are outweighed by the film's ambitious premise, the stunning visuals, and those compelling character arcs.
Right.
It's a film that aims to entertain first and foremost, and I think it succeeds in that regard.
And remember, this was 1994. CGI was still in its early stages, yet the filmmakers created some spectacular effects, like those swirling vortexes when the Stargate activates.
Oh, yeah?
Those visuals, coupled with the impressive practical effects, Ross costumes and the pyramid's architecture, give the film a tangible, almost visceral quality that still holds up today.
Those practical effects ground the film in a sense of reality, despite its fantastical premise.
Right.
And the attention to detail in those elements contributes to the overall believability of the world they created.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the craftsmanship and artistry of the filmmakers.
And speaking of artistry, Stargate doesn't shy away from tackling complex themes like imperialism, religious fanaticism, and the nature of power. How do you think the film handles these sensitive topics?
I think Stargate deserves credit for attempting to engage with these challenging ideas.
Yeah.
Even if its approach might seem somewhat simplistic by today's standards.
Right.
It presents these issues in a way that's accessible to a wide audience, using the framework of a sci-fi adventure to explore the dangers of blind faith, the abuse of power, and the importance of fighting for freedom.
You're right. It uses the guise of a popcorn flick to introduce those weighty themes to viewers who might not otherwise engage with them. And that's a powerful way to spark conversations and encourage critical thinking, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It reminds us that entertainment and thought-provoking storytelling can coexist and even enhance one another.
Right.
And by wrapping these complex themes in a thrilling, action-packed narrative, the film makes them more palatable and engaging for a wider audience.
Before we move on to the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to circle back to something we discussed earlier. The idea of historical revisionism,
Right.
Stargate, suggests that Rand intentionally distorted the history of the Abadonians to maintain control. That's a chilling thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, what if our understanding of the past has been manipulated in similar ways?
It challenges us to be critical thinkers,
Right.
to question the accepted narratives we've been taught. History is often written by the victors.
Yeah.
And Stargate reminds us that those in power have a vested interest in shaping the narrative to their advantage.
Right.
It prompts us to dig deeper, to seek out multiple perspectives, and to challenge the status quo when it comes to understanding the past.
As we head into part 3, I want to leave you with this thought. How might we view Stargate differently today, given our evolving understanding of history, culture, and representation? Join us after a short break as we explore the film's legacy, its enduring popularity, and the thought-provoking questions it continues to raise. So, Stargate, despite being a product of its time, has sparked some debate about representation and cultural sensitivity.
Yeah.
Some argue that the film relies on stereotypical portrayals of ancient Egyptian culture, and that casting a white actor like James Spader as the savior of a predominantly non-white civilization perpetuates harmful tropes. What are your thoughts on that?
Looking back at Stargate through a contemporary lens, it's clear that certain aspects haven't aged well.
Right.
The portrayal of the Abydonians, while visually striking, could be seen as exoticizing or appropriating elements of real-world cultures. It raises important questions about the responsibility of filmmakers to portray cultures accurately and respectfully, especially when dealing with historical or fictionalized versions of real-world cultures.
It's a good reminder that representation matters, both on-screen and behind the scenes. Diversity in filmmaking helps ensure that multiple perspectives are heard, leading to richer, more nuanced stories. But despite these criticisms, Stargate has undeniably left a lasting impact on popular culture.
Right.
It spawned multiple successful TV series, video games, even inspired countless other sci-fi works. Why do you think this film, with its flaws, has resonated with audiences for so long?
Well, Stargate tapped into a universal fascination with ancient mysteries and the possibility of extraterrestrial life. It presented a compelling what-if scenario. What if our history is intertwined with advanced alien civilizations?
Right.
That premise, combined with thrilling action sequences and a touch of romance, proved to be a winning formula. It gave audiences an escape, a chance to imagine worlds beyond our own, while also making them think about the mysteries of our own past.
And let's not forget those iconic visuals. The Stargate itself, that swirling vortex of energy, has become synonymous with interdimensional travel in popular culture. It captured our imaginations and sparked a desire to explore the unknown.
The film's visual language, from the imposing pyramids to the otherworldly Stargate, created a sense of wonder and awe that resonated with audiences.
Right.
It presented a vision of the universe that was both familiar and alien, inviting viewers to step through that portal and explore alongside the characters.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Stargate, I think it's safe to say that this film, while imperfect, holds a significant place in sci-fi history. It entertained us, challenged our perceptions, and left us pondering the vast possibilities of the universe.
It's a film that continues to spark conversations and inspire new generations of storytellers, prompting us to question what we know. Imagine what could be and explore the infinite possibilities that lie beyond our world. And that, I believe, is a testament to its enduring legacy.
Well said. And for you listening, as you reflect on this deep dive, we leave you with one final thought. If you could step through a Stargate, where would you go? What mysteries would you unravel? And what impact would you hope to leave on the worlds you encounter? Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep imagining. For the universe, like the Stargate itself, holds endless possibilities.